Speaking of all of this, the vice president and the former president faced off, of course, in that fiery debate last night. Eamon Javers joins us this morning with some highlights that were centered around the economy, inflation, and the deficit. Eamon.
Carl, that's right. I want to start with this morning, though, because after all that rhetoric that we saw last night and the name calling, we did see a moment of bipartisan grace this morning at the 9/11 memorial event between Vice President Harris and Donald Trump. You see another handshake there between the two candidates. That is the second time they have shaken hands. The first time, of course, was last night at the debate where things were much more fiery. The big portion of the debate on the economy came first early on. You see, this is the first handshake between the two candidates on stage last night. Vice President Harris presented herself as the change candidate generationally and politically. Here's what she said.
It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries.
And for his part, Donald Trump defended his proposal to add tariffs across the economy, saying that tariffs ultimately will be good for the economy and won't cause inflation. Here's what he said.
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration.
Now, of course, China wasn't paying those tariffs. American companies that import products from China were the ones paying those tariffs. But the former president there, on his strongest footing, attacking Kamala Harris for saying that if she was so against tariffs, why has the Biden administration allowed those tariffs to stay in place? Also arguing at the very end of the debate, in probably his strongest moment, look, if Kamala Harris has all these ideas about the economy, she's been in power for 3.5 years. Why hasn't she done any of that stuff yet? Carl, back over to you.
Kamala Harris invoked Goldman Sachs and that report about where it's saying that the Harris economy would be better than the Trump economy. We talked to Jan Hatzius, the chief economist of Goldman Sachs, on Friday, asked him about that report, got a little more context. Just listen to what Goldman Sachs chief economist said about it.
The main takeaway is that the differences are actually relatively small. If you go back to the last couple of presidential elections, they had big macro impacts. The Trump tax cuts post-2016 election, the Biden stimulus post-2020 election. Relative to that, these numbers are pretty small. We're talking about a few tenths of a percentage point, one way or the other. So I would say this is not very large. Now, we don't know. There's also a lot of uncertainty about what actually is implemented. Our working assumption on tariffs specifically, which is one of the most important parts of it, is that there will be China tariffs, and they'll be pretty sizable. But our best guess is no across the board 10% tariff.
So I don't know, maybe a little overplayed there on the Goldman, more bullish on Kamala Harris's economy.
Yeah, I can tell you, though, that the Trump campaign is really frustrated with Goldman Sachs. On a conference call with reporters last week, some of the Trump economic team said that Goldman Sachs' economic team is basically a bunch of liberals. They're in the tank for Kamala Harris. They put out these kinds of reports every cycle. The Trump economic team, Kevin Hassett in particular, arguing that, Goldman Sachs has been wrong in the past on this and really teeing off on Goldman's analysts there and saying you can look at their campaign contributions and see that they're a bunch of liberals. So some real tension between the Trump campaign and Goldman Sachs right now.
Eamon, we're looking at a market that is down, the S&P down 1.3%. We mentioned this a couple of times already, but perhaps in part because Harris has seemed to have enhanced her opportunity here to actually gain the presidency and therefore a higher corporate tax rate. Do we have a full plan from her when it comes to taxes? I know we've talked about perhaps a lower cap gains rate than at least Biden has proposed, but what are we looking at there?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things. The one piece that she was talking about last night was this idea of incentivizing business owners, small business owners, a $50,000 credit for small business folks. She's also talking about incentivizing home buyers as well with $25,000 in assistance for first-time home buyers. And, you know, she's dialing back, I would say, some of Joe Biden's proposals on taxes on capital gains. So this is a candidate who's trying to find the center and trying to look at prices and homes as sort of the areas where people are most concerned about the economy, Carl.
That's certainly been the discussion the last couple of weeks, that balance, Eamon, between listening to voters and trying to find policies that resonate with voters and doing the same thing with your donors, who are clearly pressuring her to move to the center, at least as it pertains to corporate and capital gains taxes. Eamon Javers, a lot to digest, and we'll talk more about the debate last night.